I use that one, Franz, to just calm us down a little bit. Everything's crazy tonight. Buddy's not in his studio. Franz is where he's supposed to be, and Buddy's on assignment. And this is the Buddy Martin Show, and we are on the air. We didn't know if we were going to get it because I sounded like this a little bit.
Miracle of miracles.
Well, when you're brilliant like me, what are you going to do? Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. You're watching the Buddy Martin Show. It's been a crazy day on Gator Sports. That's what we do here. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to transfer portal. We have got recruiting information, but it's not information because it's all out there. But if you're watching for the show for the first time, you might get something out of it. Who's the guy in my right, left? Franz is there. Buddy, my father, is there. I'm Brenden in Dad's studio. Don't try to figure it out. We are going to be talking to hopefully Loren Meadows is going to check in. Who knows else is going to pop in. Buddy, do you have anything to say for yourself?
Well, I'm just sort of waiting to hear what Franz has got to say because I'm sort of dazed. The portal's got me crazy. I can't figure out what's happening. It's like every day is another recruiting story. So I'm waiting to hear what the big gets were. I heard about today. I read Franz, of course, stay up with him. But I guess this is an exciting time. I tell you, it's exhausting, though, Franz. It's exhausting.
Well, it's one of these things, buddy, that if you don't like, it's what's the old saying about the weather in the Northeast? If you don't like it, wait 5 minutes and it'll change.
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, that's what we say about Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it is with the transfer portal. If you don't like what you're seeing, wait 5 minutes because it is going to change.
The wild, wild west, and I don't want to interrupt you guys, but I'm going to say, listen, if you're watching the show for the first time, or if not, 72% of you do not subscribe to the show, there's a little button down there because we have a nice Christmas background. Go ahead and click it and subscribe. And before we get into all of it, tell your friends and family the Buddy Martin Show is on the air because we're going to play this open.
It's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Now that feels better. Welcome to the show, everybody. And I didn't want to interrupt Franz Beard, and I didn't want to interrupt Buddy Martin, but it's not a show unless we play the open. So, Franz, would you like to take us through today's events? Because not much happened over the weekend for the Gators.
May I say one thing?
It's your show. I mean,
it may be called the Buddy Martin Show, but tonight is the Franz Beard Show. Okay, he's the guy that's on top of it.
That's nice. Yeah.
I follow him on stuff like this. I've been reading his stuff. He's been on top of it. I challenge you to find anybody who works harder, does more, and knows more information than Franz does. So kudos to Franz.
I don't know about me.
Who's this Franz guy? I need to know him because I need to find out what's going on with the Gators.
You should.
I know we've got some stuff in the chat room. People asking about D-line coach and all the coaching stuff. We've heard some rumors. We'll get to that in a little bit later.
Oh, it's not Ed Orgeron, huh?
Not that we know of yet, but
Yeah.
we don't know anything yet. It's all speculation.
Here's the thing, guys, and now that Buddy brought up the name Ed Orgeron, I have this theory that if Ed Orgeron is going to coach again, it's going to be wherever Lane Kiffin is. And they are best of buddies dating back to their days at Southern Cal together. I can't imagine Coach O coaching again unless it is with Lane. And the way Lane is bringing in the defensive players right now. I mean, talk about somebody who is really, really on a roll with bringing in the players. Let me give you an idea of what he's done so far. Tavian Nicholson, a stud corner from Illinois. Chris Paul, tackling machine from Arkansas. Lewis Moore, a safety who will knock your socks off from Indiana. Jerquan Scott, who's an offensive lineman, who's going to move to guard from Southern Miss. Key Lawrence, absolutely stud safety from Oklahoma. Then he gets 2 edge rushers. Princely Van Mielen from Florida, Tyler Barron from Tennessee. And then he gets Tammy McDonald, who is a terrific safety from Tennessee. Gets DeCameron Richardson, who's a corner from Mississippi State. But the coup of all, Juice Wells. Juice Wells is the best wide receiver in the portal. He's going to be with Lane Kiffin. And, Buddy, you know what Lane can do with an offense. He's got defensive players coming in. Pete Golding made a huge difference with his defense. Now you bring in Juice Wells. And it's important to talk about Ole Miss because they're on the Gator schedule next year. They're the next to the last game, if I remember correctly. They're like the next to last game before FSU next year. Holy cow. I mean, Oklahoma is going to be good. Texas is going to be good. We get Texas next year. But the way Ole Miss is loading things up, they're loading up like a team that's going to be in the playoff next year.
Well, that's all well and good. But what I want to know is what's going to happen to Billy's 2024 class. Is he going to hold it together or not?
I think he's going to hold everybody except Filsaime. Filsaime is gone. I'm guessing that's that. Filsaime.
Sammy.
I've heard 10 different pronunciations, and I'm not sure which one is right. Word is with him that I heard that Florida's an NIL victim on him. I don't know what anybody else has heard, but
cash money is what I heard. Actually, not amongst this crew, but I've heard that let's just say he was offered double what the Gators were being offered to go down to the big oil country. So I don't know. That's it's all sort of speculation, but I've heard from multiple sources. I don't know if you guys have heard that, but I've heard at least it was double what the Gators are offering. And then there was a little buyer's remorse there by Texas when they thought they found out they could get him a little cheaper.
Oh my. Well, I can tell you this much about it. Only God has more money than the Longhorns, and that's a fact, Yeah. You need some extra cash, Hey, you call up old Billy Bob up there out in West Texas and say, hey, sell another 100 barrels of oil for us. And,
look, they got more money than God up there.
And let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask you a question. Are we doing a reality check here? Do you think that people are prepared to hear these numbers that are being thrown out there, the average fan? Because I had a conversation with Steve Spurrier last week. He went up to the Heisman. He talked to some of the players, the panelists there, and asked them about the money. And one quarterback who shall go nameless, he said, what are they paying y'all this year? About $1 million. He said, a little more than that, coach, about $1.4 million. And he got an education on what the numbers were. And the second line players, the ones that aren't star quarterback, they get 500 to 600, and then the really good players get 300. So I mean, that's the going rate now. I mean, my mind still can't get around that figure. I mean, it is professional football, and they are buying players. We thought they were, but now they are. We know for sure. Does that concern your friends?
Well, it should be a concern for everybody. NIL, now it's legal. We know people have been paying people under the table for years. That's no surprise, buddy. You and I grew up in an era. You were already a pro when I was just starting out, but I was right behind you when SEC. What did SEC stand for? Sure.
Some extra cash. Some extra cash,
or sure, everybody cheats. Southwest Conference was sure, we cheat. What are you going to do? And then people would follow that up with, what are you going to do about it? The money is staggering. And, somebody just made a comment that says we were getting beaten in facilities. Now we're getting beaten in NIL. And it's true, we are. And this is, Florida. Let me explain one thing for folks. Florida may have a lot of money, but it is not the kind of money that you see, for example, like Arkansas. Arkansas can go to the Reynolds, as in Reynolds Aluminum. They can go to Tyson, as in Tyson Chicken.
Walmart.
They can go to Jerry Jones, as in Dallas Cowboys. They can go to Walmart, Baum. They can go to Warren Stevens, the largest private banker outside of Wall Street in the United States. And those are just the people off the top of my head I can remember who are gazillionaires. Buddy, Brenden, do you remember when we were there in 2008 and we're driving around that campus in that Hyundai Rent-A-Sled that we had, that we drove over from Tulsa to there?
Yes,
wait, no, not we. Brenden drove it.
We were in the vehicle. Okay,
it's not my fault. All right, it wasn't my driving. I've never been to the Smokies before. Is that what we're talking about?
No. I'm talking about Arkansas. We came across from Tulsa.
Oh, I did good on that trip. My skills were strong.
About your driving.
One flat tire.
What I'm saying is that we drove around the campus and we were just astounded
baseball
at their facilities.
Everything.
And this is 15 years ahead of Florida. They've upgraded everything since then.
Yeah.
And they continue to. The genius of Frank Broyles was all these people hate each other. Literally hate each other. And he could go up to, say, the Reynolds family and say, the Walmart people are talking about giving me another $150 million. Whoa, wait a second. I'll write you a check. It's kind of like I'm probably I exaggerate.
No, you're not, because I actually listened to a podcast last night with John Daly. I think it was on Tucker Carlson or something. But he was talking about University of Arkansas and the amount of money and effort and just the campus as a whole and how many people are bought in on it and just the state of Arkansas as a whole, the real estate, everything from Fayetteville all the way down. But they're just talking about how there's a lot of, there's a ton of people that believe there and what a difference it's made at the university in the last decade.
I agree with what Robert Turner just texted. He said, what has Arkansas done as far as winning games? You're right. But my point being, it's not winning. It's the fact that they got the money and they're willing to spend it.
And that's where we're at with it.
Their money is focused in large gazillionaire pocketbooks and banks. Florida, we have a lot of rich people, but we're not talking about mega rich folks. We don't. We've got a few, but all you got to do is go look on the Forbes 500 list of the 500 richest people in America. And there's not that many Floridians on there. We got a lot. I think we got a lot of people who are in that $50 to $100 million range. Probably maybe more of those than anybody else. But we got to tap into the resources. And folks, that's why Scott Strickland was brought in here. And I think Scott's done a really good job because he's raised the money for the facilities. He's done a tremendous job on there. The next phase of what Florida's got to do is get the money from the boosters and and eventually speaking, buddy, Brenden, you chime in on this. Eventually speaking, we got to start talking to the corporations. You guys have heard me laugh, heard me giggle and say, Chico's bail, up in Georgia, where they've got all kinds of problems with the law in the last year or so. The Chico's bail bonds Georgia Bulldogs. Well, are we that far away from the Publix Gators? Or, think about that.
Hey, Franz, you and Brenden might remember you were in Atlanta when they had the SEC meetings there the first time, the media days. And I remember something that struck my brain with Kirby. This is about 5 years ago, maybe 6, when Kirby Smart was talking about he was leaving there to go with a meeting with a bunch of corporate people, with the captains of industry in Atlanta. He knew what was going on then. He was already out there making inroads to the Coca-Cola, all the people. We're going to need some pony ups for cash. Meanwhile, Jeremy Foley was saying, we're not going to get in the arms race. Guess what? You're in the arms race. You were in it then. So they got to jump on things because they were aware this is a money game. And now Florida realizes it's a money game, and they're having a hard time playing catch-up with it. Made a lot of mistakes with the Shada, et cetera, and they keep shooting themselves in the foot. And it's getting to a point where the people, I know people tell me I'm starting to be negative. Brenden, did you say you got a person today who was angry at us because we're too negative? Fact is, call it like it is. We've been behind the 8 ball for a while now, especially in the money game. Something's got to give.
Yeah, well, I agree. I'm going to bring in right now special correspondent Loren Meadows. Coach, how are you? Welcome to the program. I'm sure you've been listening to all of what we've been talking about. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting situation, man. I think I think Florida has kind of put themselves in a position where there's so many factors involved in why this thing is where it is now. And, I always tell people if they're not careful, they're going to be Nebraska and, kind of leaning on the glory days, trying to find it. And it's just never, ever going to come back. And I think all those factors that you guys talked about, particularly like Buddy saying, not getting in the arms race and things like that, it's interesting to think, we all love to talk about the everything school and that kind of thing. Would those programs have attained some of the success that they attained had Florida decided to get in the arms race? Or was there capital funds there that could have been used and those same sports would have been as productive? Because I think that's what Jeremy Foley's aim was. But, this thing is... They were
giving $5 million a year way back to the school, friends. He was we're giving $5 million. I mean, that's money could have been an infrastructure.
Right. Well, and I think that, like to say, where does this, it's like, where was the give and take, and could football have still maintained the level of success, level of infrastructure that seemed to play a role in its kind of coming back to the pack a little bit? I think that's one of the things that time will tell. But if this thing doesn't go right with Billy, and the fact that they've given him all the resources he asked for, all the things that he said he needed to be successful, and it still doesn't go well, I don't know. Now you started a cycle, and like I said, you're Nebraska, you're Alabama, who, unless they hit pay dirt with Nick Saban, they were kind of headed for that same cycle. And, I don't know.
Well, I want to, before you start, friends, I want to ask a question. Look, because you're behind, you're playing this catch up, right? Then Dan Mullen's biggest complaint and part of Urban Meyer's, but was facilities. Then you finally get the facilities, right? But even when the Hebner Center comes online, aren't you now a little bit behind and broke in a lot of ways? I mean, is that sort of what we're chasing? Or because I've heard the other is that, there's, boosters and people who give money and all that stuff. They like to have some sort of control. Is it that they're just currently unhappy with the current, Billy and his regime? And so they said, we're not going to give any money, because, social media, you read all this crap, but, is there some truth to the fact that maybe they just don't want to donate because until Billy changes and they're not going to give at it? I mean, like we said, post Rashada, everyone was a little bit, at least some big money was a little bit ticked off about it.
I think that a lot of people have committed big bucks to the facilities upgrades. I can tell you right now, there's one thing, for example, I know about that I am sworn to secrecy about. That's going to be it's mind-boggling, but I'm sworn to secrecy about it. I wish I could go ahead and mention it, but the forward thinking on facilities goes beyond what we're just currently can visualize right now. There is a plan in the future. When Scott Strickland came here, there was no plan for the future. There was none. When it came to facilities or anything, it was more or less, we're going to go status quo year to year. And you can't do that. Not these days and times. They're going to get a boost starting next year. They're going to, the SEC money will be about $73 to $75 million a piece year one. 2025, probably the same thing. 2026 onward, it's going to be more like about $100 million a year from the SEC. That's going to help a lot. That's going to, I think that when we start getting that money in, you're going to start seeing boosters encouraged to take a larger slice of their money and put it into NIL. I think right now, until that happens, though, it's going to be dicey. $17 million more, though. It's about $56 million right now. They're going to be getting a $17 million boost per school because they dropped CBS. CBS dropped them, and I think CBS is, buddy, you've been with CBS. I think CBS is going to rue the day that they let the SEC go. They're going to have the 3:30 Big Ten game, but the main game on the Big Ten for the Big Ten is going to go to Fox. Fox will have that noon game is going to be the game, which means that instead of CBS getting the number one game every week at 3:30 on the SEC, they're going to get the number two game in the Big Ten. And I can tell you right now, if Ohio State and Michigan aren't playing, that number two game is going to be an absolute dud. And they're going to sink in the ratings like you can't.
Well, they're getting some good teams in the Big Ten, don't forget now. Some pretty good teams. Oregon, they're going to get 4 good teams in the West Coast, so it won't be a dog of a game.
They don't drive the needle, buddy. They
don't
drive
here.
the
They
TV
don't do it
needle.
here. No.
And will CBS spark a West Coast football revival? They may, but the West Coast has had football games on with Fox. They've had them on with ESPN, and nobody, for the most part, nobody has watched them.
Well, yeah, and there's a comment here from Wally Gator. Why don't you? I've got a great idea. Why don't you pissers and moaners, join Florida victorious? Just a thought. Hey, listen, I get it, but we're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about if we could all donate a couple of bucks, and it's probably not going to move this needle very much because there's allocation to facility. By the way, there's a whole redesign of the swamp going down. There's a lot of changes, being made seemingly all at the wrong time. And I think, and you all want you to comment on this, sorry, you, Loren, is that I think what we're trying to outline is the importance of Billy, and you said this earlier, that Billy Napier and current company and this team and this entire movement, now works. Like, it's got to work, because if this doesn't work and Billy is unsuccessful and you have to restart and have another coach, this, like you said, we're going to end up a la Scott Frost in Nebraska and a la a lot of these schools. And now you're not just competing in the SEC. You've got, hey, Prime's over there in Colorado. I mean, he's killing it in the transfer portal. And then in the SEC, by the way, Lane Kiffin, hey, he's 7-8 guys out of the portal already. And starting to 10 now. So maybe his little plea at the end of the year this year saying, we don't have any money on his press conference, maybe got everyone to donate. I'm not saying that Florida victorious isn't a good way to go, and this collective thing. I'm just saying, I don't know. Answer. What do you think, Loren? Is it enough? Would it be enough?
Well, I do know that this thing is always a work in progress. And I do know, I've been told by a lot of different people that the way that Florida Victorious is constructed right now is not the way that it'll be constructed in a couple years. I know there's ways to try and tweak it to improve the amount of money that it's able to garner for NIL, things like that. But I'll take people back, and not to be hard on Coach Napier, but at the same time, he, in the very first press conference, he brought up, and Buddy, you were sitting there right in front of him. He said, football, recruiting, and NIL. And in his mind, I think he thought, we got a plan. We're going to do these things. We're going to bring all these people in. We're going to run it like an NFL program. We're going to have all these people involved. And this thing is kind of took a left turn on him. And I just don't know that they were prepared for the mass amount of money that is being circulated through this thing. And, with that said, I agree. I mean, if this doesn't work with, like I said, with all the resources that have been given to Billy Napier and all of the army of people that are supposed to be involved in this thing, I just don't know where this goes, because Colorado, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, you live there. Colorado there's no way they have there's more to it than just financial infrastructure. I mean, yes, some of these guys are going to the highest bidder, but Colorado at the time they hired Dion didn't even have the money to pay his own salary. So but
Boulder and Colorado as a whole has a lot of money,
right?
And more than they used to have,
right? So if that's the case, then, and you're telling me the only way that Florida is going to win in the football game is to pony up the ends, then I think they're in trouble, because I've been told by a lot of people that one of the biggest issues that these big money people have is there is zero return on investment.
Yeah. Can I jump in there? Right. I want to say one thing about that. And then I have to split. I know Brendan's got to go to a commercial break. This is Meldon Law Monday. I know that. But the 2 points I listened to you guys talk, I want to make. First of all, Florida Victorious is trying to decide what it wants to be. There's a reorganization going on right now. Someone we know very well is a key player in it, and I've had a conversation with him about it, and they don't really know what they're doing yet. They want to do it right, but even the public relations part of it has not been good, and so they got to fix what's broken there. If that's their main arm of money gathering, whatever, you got to let people know what's going on. You got to address them. You got to make them feel welcome. You got to be medium friendly. A lot of things there. I think you will see some of that changing in the next couple of weeks or months or whatever. It will change. But here's a little secret, a dirty little secret. When the College Football Committee made their choices about the 6 teams. And we're going to have to go back and relitigate that. But, one of the biggest things for them, what the decision was, they wanted eyeballs. They're in the eyeball business. They're now in show business. That's why they wanted Alabama. Alabama is the second most watched team on TV. So it is about money. It is about ratings. And that's what's driving this game of college football right now. So a lot of changes got to be made. Florida has to get back in the game. It's going to be a different situation than Loren. You talk about money driving it. Well, money is driving it now. How much longer can it drive it? With that, I'll step aside. I got to go, guys. Have a good night, and I'll be listening to what you guys have to say. All right? Thanks.
All right. Good night. He's Buddy Martin, and
Good night, Bud Light.
he's doing that. Well, speaking of which, let's take a quick break. We're going to hear from Meldon Law, and you are watching the Buddy Martin Show. Make sure you subscribe to this channel to get all of our updates and good stuff. And it is Meldon Law. Speaking of great boosters and people that help the University of Florida, this guy and his company has done a lot. We'll be right back after this break.
Jeffrey, look forward to a great 2024 and being together with you and your wife to celebrate some special occasions.
Yeah, and Buddy, I want to tell our Gator fans out there that Todd Golden is the real deal.
Okay.
In 1 year, he's put together this really tall team that's going to out-rebound just about everybody that they play. They've got some great shooters. We got 3 or 4, guards in there that are awesome.
Yep.
And I predict that the Gators are going to be a ranked team by the end of the season, and that you wait and see. They're going to make some noise around March Madness.
Sounds exciting. You'll be right there to report from courtside. Give us the inside scoop, Jeffrey.
Yeah, and January 6th is Meldon Law Day. We're playing Kentucky at the O-Dome. It's Meldon Law Day. We've got special shirts for everybody.
Giving stuff away again like you do all over the place. You're giving stuff away.
But it's going to be it's Kentucky, buddy. What do you got to say?
What are you going to do? Be a big night.
The home game against Kentucky is always the big game of the year.
Maybe I'll come sit with you tonight. So,
okay, January 6th, buddy.
All right, Jeffrey, have a happy holiday season. The best to you. And don't forget, Meldon Law, they do not back down. And they wish you a happy holiday season.
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody.
Speaking of holidays, I got holiday music for you right now for both of you. It's like that royalty-free holiday music, though. That's not like real, but it feels real because there's like bells and stuff. Yeah, it's like the karaoke holiday music.
All right.
We're back. Thanks to Meldon Law for sponsoring this program. You are watching Meldon Law Monday. You are watching the Buddy Martin Show. Okay, so I want to reset here, and I want to talk a little bit for those who don't know about what happened in the portal in the last 24 hours for the Florida Gators, our pickups, and then of course it's not that. I mean, if you follow this, it's not a huge news. I think he's been on Flip Alert for about a week to go to Texas, so I'm not super surprised there. Franz, you want to walk us through it?
Well, losing Filsaime, I think, would have hurt far worse if they hadn't picked up Traquezy Bridges from Oregon this morning. And you're talking about a guy, a veteran safety who is proven, had a bit of an off year this year because he was battling injuries throughout the year. But what I can tell you is this guy, when he's healthy, like he was in 2022, where he had 3 interceptions, he had 49 solo tackles, 5 pass breakups. 2021, he had 26 tackles, he had a pass breakup, he had an interception. This is a guy that has proven himself throughout the years. He's a veteran. He's from the state of Alabama, so in a lot of respects, he's coming home. And granted, you need those 5-star guys. You really and truly do. But that being said, a guy that is a veteran guy at a place that needs veterans. RJ Moten, I thought, had a bad year last year. And considering the way he played at Michigan, I think Loren would agree with me. had to be the coaching, because you just don't take steps backward like he did, particularly a guy that is a proven guy as he did. So I'm looking forward. I've gotten over my Will Harris, who's he discourse here. I don't know that Cory Raymond, excuse me. Cory Raymond, I just don't, something disconnected. Here's another one. How do you go from being as good a coach in the secondary as there is anywhere in the country to 2 years with such incredibly bad results as he's had? So anyway, losing the 5-star guys always hurts. It really does, because they're magnets. The most important thing, for the most part, that I think your 5-star guys is magnets for other guys. It's like Georgia lost Dylan Raiola today. He's gone. He's flipped, and he's going to Nebraska. For a good portion of the year, he was ranked the number 1 quarterback in the country. Dipped a little bit. DJ is, I think, now considered by and large the number 1 quarterback in the country. He's coming here, but for Georgia to lose him, that's a big deal. For Matt Rule at Nebraska, it's an even bigger deal, because the 5-star guys really are magnets. You look at what happened when, for example, when the Gators got Tim Tebow. Wow. You look at what happened when they got Chris Leak, another one. Both these guys were magnets, and we brought in great recruiting classes because of them. So losing a magnet hurts. However, you gotta move on from it. I think they compensated well by getting Bridges in, but stuff happened. Robert Turner, Kamari Wilson, what happened? He gained weight. He's 220 pounds, and he ain't quick enough to cover anybody. He needs to go to linebacker wherever. I know he's transferred to Arizona State, and as I understand it, they're going to turn him into a linebacker, which is where he needs to play.
Kind of switching gears. We've heard this rumor now for the last, 2 hours. Kenneth Dupree, Brenden, is it true Florida is going to get Liberty's offensive coordinator? I don't think we know anything about anything specific. I think there's just a ton of rumor mill. Have you guys heard anything different?
No, I haven't. It's all rumor right now. I haven't heard anything. Obviously there's a connection there with Willie Korn's connection.
Willie Korn, yeah.
Yeah, to Clemson, as well as the the Conference USA connection and those kind of things. But right now, it's all speculation.
I will have to say that for this year, more over than most, when there's smoke, there has been fire most of the time. So when I have heard rumor, it has been justified. Like I said, there's no little birdie whispering in my ear, Loren's ear, Fran's ear about it. But we do get a lot of messages from people saying it's a done deal, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's not journalism. We're not going to say that we know anything. But I think everyone hears the same thing because everyone's on Twitter. So,
well, here's the thing that I do know. The guy took Caden Salter and turned him into one stud QB this year at Liberty. If they happen to, if it works out that this is true, and you do get Willie Korn, all I got to say is go over to cfbstats.com, which is the definitive site for college football stats. This is what Caden Salter did this year as a sophomore. Threw for 2,750 yards and 31 touchdowns, ran for 1,064 and 12. He looks like a young Jaden Daniels is who he looks like out there. He's I'm not saying these Jaden Daniels, but the numbers aren't that far off. And his rise, a year ago, Caden Salter threw for 1,086 yards and ran for 284. I would say that Willie Korn had a substantial effect on him. Plus, and Hugh Freeze, as we know, is a really fine offensive coach, and Hugh Freeze was his coach before. So, if they get him, it's a good move, and it also means, I think, a good, and I'll ask you about this, Loren. It means that if he's hiring Willie Korn, that Billy Napier is going to take on more of a CEO type role as the head coach and leave the offensive development and play calling to somebody else. I have to believe that's a good move at this point in time.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that at this point, there's just so much that goes on, and as the game evolves and as this thing changes with recruiting, NIL, and like Buddy said earlier, the NIL with Florida Victorious is kind of changing and hopefully for the better, and kind of getting things out there a little bit more where the program's been a little closed off, and that could be a byproduct of Billy Napier having to do the offensive game plan and being at the heart of those things. And, it can loosen some guys up, and he can actually have somebody that on game day can take some of that load off of him, because like someone said earlier, Willie Gator was saying that, a lot of the coaches are like zombies and they don't show a lot of emotions, things like that. And some of us have been at practice. And I would say that that's one of the most intriguing things is when you go to practice there, it's just kind of like ho-hum, you don't hear a lot of rallying and things like that. And I've said on many occasions, I think Florida gets beat Monday through Friday as opposed to on the field on Saturday, with the way they practice and game planning and things like that. So with Willie Korn or whoever would come in and has a dynamic offense, I think number one, it's going to be very important that it fits the skill set of what I believe is a very good quarterback in Graham Mertz. Number one, a system that he can understand and continue to flourish in as he did in Napier's system, but also one that can, just really draw on the strengths of the returning players, and they'll still have some decent guys on offense, and I'm sure they'll get a few more. But that's going to be the key, is to have an offense that is sound for 4 quarters for 12 games that they can hang their hat on. And not necessarily rely on the fact that the defense is playing lights out one day or not on another, and can just consistently generate points. And like you said, I think at this time, Coach Napier is at a tipping point where to step back and really see his program from 30,000 feet as opposed to being in the hunt could probably do wonders for not do wonders, but could do him some good.
To answer Smokey Gator's question, Willie Korn went with the coach from Coastal Carolina, Jamie Chadwell, up to Liberty. Hugh Freeze did not. He didn't coach for Hugh Freeze. So to answer that, and back to what you were saying, Loren, I have to agree 100% with what you're saying there, that you've got to win Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You have to win that. I've always liked coaches who say, if you don't practice hard for me on those 4 days, don't expect to play for me on Saturday. And I think there's something to that. Now, there are guys who are notoriously bad practice players. Shane Matthews was a terrible practice player, but the effort was there. And that was the key. You look for the effort, because Danny Werfel wasn't a great practice player, but he was lights out in games. But the effort, you never doubted the effort from him. And you never doubted that he grasped the concepts. It's just that, the fade pass that he never missed in the end zone to Doring on on Wednesday. You know, he missed on Wednesday, but he didn't miss that on Saturdays. And there are guys like that. Shane Matthews was a guy that some days couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a bass fiddle throwing the ball in practice. But
I don't even know what that is.
Game day came along, the ball got there, and the offense moved. So
Sure.
There's, like Fred.
There's gamers and practice guys.
You just know that. Most 90% of guys are the same, practice and game. But like you said, there are some guys, Brenden, that are just but the difference is, what you get from those guys when the lights come on. Those guys aren't hard to find. And, they, I'll put some WD-40 this squeaky.
Yeah, you need to squeak. Your chair is crazy squeaky, dude.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. But
I'll have to show up with like a can of like WD-40. I got to fix your audio. I got to come my butt crack hanging out. I'm really your cable guy.
but no, coaches know what they get from those guys. Franz, you coached. You know what you're getting from those gamers. So the big thing is, when we talk about, and like you said, Franz, when we talk about winning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's about at every stretch of the practice, all the preparation, that everybody involved is exactly on the same page. And I'll go back to your point about Cory Raymond, Franz. I think there was a big time disconnect between what I think Austin Armstrong wanted to get accomplished throughout the week and even on game day to that back end. It had to be. I've never seen defensive back play that bad at this level. And it was awful. It was embarrassing. And there's no way that Cory Raymond, like you said, there's no way Cory Raymond could fall that fast. It's just, I can't understand it, other than the communication between everybody involved. There was just a huge disconnect in the messaging on defense. Had to be.
And that's what we've been saying all year long, Franz and Loren. We have been talking about the communication issue, the robustness of the staff. That has been a theme, I think, since Utah. That we've discussed, and that's something that they've had, or we said Billy's got to go fix in the off season. I think, Loren, you and I said that this was sort of a sacrificial lamb sort of situation. Somebody's got to go, somebody's got to answer for it. The buck stops with the head coach or with the coach of the position player coach, and I think that's where you have to go fix. But Franz, is it a fair assessment to go, rip Cory Raymond, or was it more of Cory Raymond wanting to go get another job? There's other perspective there.
Well, something went wrong. There was disconnect, and it's not just one season; it's 2 seasons worth. He had Patrick Toney back there coaching the safeties, and he's coaching the corners. And I look at, I don't know if you guys remember this or not. Year 1, Missouri is down there, and it's like third and 17 or third and 19, and some slow white boy goes out there, and he is slow. You timed him with the sundial, and he beats our corner, and they get a first down on it, and they turned a game that should have been a blowout into white knuckles. And that one play is stuck in my mind for a year. You go to this year, and everybody's saying, well, he'll have the entire secondary, so the problem was Toney, and it's gone. Well, it's called MS, more of same, and PhD, pilot higher and deeper,
acronym. It's like an acronym salad right now.
Yeah, and like somebody said, it is Cory Raymond, and he may not have forgotten to coach, but you can do a bad job. We can have a bad show. We all have other pursuits that we do. Some days are better than others. Some years are better than others. Cory Raymond's responsibility, like I say this, maybe Cory Raymond is not the issue all the time. But on, like, if you want to talk about Missouri, on 4th and 17, and that ball is not knocked down, that's on Cory Raymond. It is. You got to live with that. That's part of coaching. You have to raise the level of your players. Jason Marshall has gotten worse. He has not gotten better.
Oh, he's gotten
he
way
does not
worse.
play the football the same way in the air that he did as a freshman.
No.
We loved him as a freshman. And so it is. You have to take responsibility for your position group, period. You got to coach those guys up. It's what everybody does at every sport, no matter what it is. You have to coach your guys up. Does that mean Cory Raymond's not a great coach? No. Has Cory Raymond forgot more about defensive back play than all of us combined? Absolutely. But there was a disconnect, period.
Yes.
And it was evident from the day he started coaching those guys after last year's first game. I mean, the first game against Utah last year, they were unbelievable. But since then, they have gotten progressively worse in the secondary. And it was when he coached the corners and Tony had the safeties. And it was when he coached the entire secondary. There was a disconnect. Good secondary players play on a string. They feed off each other. They move off each other. You never saw that with Cory Raymond's secondary. Not one bit.
Well, you got to ask yourself this question also, and I'll interject this thought in there. You're the coach, not me. I coach basketball. I can tell you about Roundball Concepts, but the pointy ball, I'll leave those questions to you. How much of it could be also that Cory Raymond was coaching him up fine, but you have a disconnect in the scheme that is called for that particular play. I can be the greatest coach in the world, but if you scheme my guys in the wrong places, they can't stop anything. Is that a possibility?
That's the thing. It could be a mix of all of it. That's what we're talking about, that disconnect. I think there's so many parts in that, but where you, like I said, where you can point to Cory Raymond, though, is how many guys were around Luther Burden when he caught that football on that 4th and 17? I think we had 4 guys within 2 yards of the ball.
I think it was 5 or 6 if you really freeze it right there, because that's what Billy was saying. Billy talked about it in the press conference.
Right. That ball has to be knocked down. When we're sitting at the hotel and we're going through our final steps and we're going through our play scripts and all those things, and every football team that's coached worth a darn has these meetings, high school on, and we're talking about different things. The fact that those guys in their mind, defensive backs are thinking, no fly zone, no fly zone, no fly zone, which means that ball's in the air. It's my football. But you never heard a defensive back step to the podium and talk about, that's my football. It's our aim to go get the football. It's our aim to make sure that secondary is a no-fly zone. And that's what I mean. Some of that has to be on him. And with respect to the brother, it just did not go well the last 2 years.
And then, look, the coaches, position coaches they wield off the same thing, which is the head coach. And this is the same conversation we keep having in the same way. And I think that's why a Korn makes sense. I think that's why you look at Billy's great. You got to assess who's good at what. Billy's a great sort of CEO guy. And I've done enough podcasts this year with Urban Meyer and listening to his concept and why he did it. And he was very much so put it in the hands of your position coaches. Let people go play. I'm going to go coach special team. I'm going to go manage this team. We're going to have Bloody Tuesday, and we're going to have we're going to hit so hard, that we're going to be prepared. You got to be a part of that bigger picture, right? and you're going to drive that narrative, right? And I think that's what the missing piece was. And I think now what we're waiting for is like, okay, who's it going to be? Where are we going to be? Because does it affect recruiting? Does it affect our transfer portal? Do we lose guys because we don't have a defensive line coach? Like all these things start to play in as we're trying to piece this whole thing. He's trying to piece this whole thing together. Don't you guys think?
Yeah. I think one of the things that has to happen, and a lot of people used to get really perturbed with Spurrier, and they said, well, why has he got Collins here? Why does he have Lost in Holland still on the staff? Lost in Holland, not Lost in Holland, but everybody called him Coach Lost in Holland.
Coach Lost in Holland.
Et cetera, like that. Steve Spurrier understood one thing, that you better have people who like each other and who enjoy being with each other, who don't second guess each other as your coaches. We have questions right now about Sean Spencer, and Sean Spencer's another one. I don't think he forgot how to coach, but I think there was disconnect. And I think that if people really told the truth about what's going on, I would say that there would probably be some confession that maybe this coaching staff didn't have a lot of people who liked each other.
I could see that.
And I may be wrong, and I may get a call tomorrow from the people at UF telling me, boy, you better figure out what you're talking about before you open your mouth and flap your gums, boy.
Is that what they talk? Is that when you get a call from the UAA? They're like, Franz Beard, we're flapping your gums.
Well, I get somebody with a deep Southern accent, you know what I'm saying? And from the deepest, darkest part of Alabama and or Georgia, and they talk like this. You've probably heard them. At some point in your life, you've stopped on the way to north to Atlanta, and you stopped in Hayhira, and in Hayhira, you talk like this. They think that you are a cousin that just hadn't been around a while. Anyway,
man, your Southern accent makes me feel like you got a pretty mouth. Now, listen.
I had to train for years to get rid of the Southern accent as best I could. I haven't professionally. I never fully got rid of it, and I don't really want to fully get rid of it. But
it's still there, buddy.
Oh,
you'll never lose it.
It's not. You don't know what my Southern accent really is.
I'll know when I talk to you. I start talking like this. Hey, listen.
You don't want me to tell everybody about Oconee, Georgia, was it? And pulling the van into the.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Billy Bob's tire shop.
No, there's not enough time for that.
Ash, I promise you, the ash on his cigarette, hanging off of his cigarette, is at least 3 inches long.
We call that a Pink Floyd.
The jack under the van, and they're getting ready to do it before the van has even stopped, before the wheels have stopped running. This was, and believe it or not, right there, this town is where Deliverance was filmed.
It was a little bit creepy. Hey, folks, before I would like to kind of wrap, like, Franz, because now we're approaching Wednesday. I think a lot of people want to know, who's left, who's coming, who's going. And I don't know you have specifics, but can you kind of give us a little bit of where we are sort of at this moment? But first, I want to tell folks, I think it's about it. I don't have that piece of paper, but I'm going to do it anyways because Buddy gets mad at me and. They are great sponsors. We're going to talk about Titan MRI. Titan MRI is a world-class facility. I'm going to cover while I get this piece of paper. Not my studio. Here it is. Titan MRI. Let's come back. Titan MRI is is worth the short drive to Gainesville. No insurance, no problem. Why is that? You can pay with cash or card, and with same-day scheduling available. You can start feeling better today. Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of patients are visiting our Gainesville location from Ocala to Marion County and the Villages. Titan MRI. Check them out at titanmri.com. Thanks for sponsoring the show. Franz, take it away.
I think Florida is going to succeed at flipping at least one guy, and that could be Jordan Ball, who is a running back, four-star running back, who has been committed to Arkansas. I believe Florida is going to succeed at flipping him on signing day. I think to hold the other 19 guys, it's going to be Florida, Miami, or FSU. I'm going out on a limb here for Jeremiah Smith. I don't think I don't think Ohio State's going to hold him. Florida, I have to say, should look good because we have the best quarterback situation. They don't have a quarterback at Miami, and they're not going to have one on Wednesday, I don't think. They don't have a quarterback yet at FSU, and I don't know that they'll have one by Wednesday either. DJ Uiagalelei appears to be the guy that FSU wants. Cam Ward, I think, has backed off of Miami, and I think he's backed off of FSU as well. He's going to go somewhere he's going to go somewhere soon. He's a Texas kid. Don't be surprised if he winds up in Aggie land. He'd be a great guy for them to pick up. Also, so anyway, Florida's got a chance with Jeremiah Smith because we have the best quarterback situation going. So that could be, and that would be huge because you pick up a 5-star guy plus a 4-star running back. I think they're going to pick up at least one, maybe two of these JUCO linemen as well. I think we wind up with a class of 23, maybe even 24. Right now, we're ranked 8th in recruiting. We're not going to finish lower than that. I think we got a chance to finish
even with the loss today with Filsaime.
Yeah, the loss dropped us down to 8 from 5 to 8, which that's understandable. I think the Gators have a chance to creep back up to say maybe number 5. If they get Jeremiah Smith and they get Ball, they'll be number 5. So
Jeremiah Smith would be huge. I mean,
yeah, well, he's a
Florida, you're talking like
he is a Florida kid, and I think they're going to. I think when the dust clears on the portal, we got 3 in. Tarquin is a lock. That's 4. I think we add 6 other guys in the portal. Okay, my guess is that we wind up with a signing class 23, 24, 10 in the portal. That means, guys, that guess what? 14 guys who are on the current roster, somewhere between 10 and 14 guys on the current roster aren't going to be there because every time a guy from the portal connects, that's a guy that's on the current roster that won't be there. Okay, so that's what you got to expect. And now let me throw in one other thing also, since we're talking portal and recruiting and everything like this. If what I hear is true, beware of Ole Miss because apparently they are going to get Walter Nolan, who is the number 1 defensive tackle in the portal, and they're going to get the Overton brothers from Aggieland, which means that all of a sudden that defense next year could be absolutely ferocious. And as we were talking earlier about coaches who have become more of a CEO, Lane Kiffin still calls a lot of plays, but his primary play caller is Charlie Weiss Jr. Lane gave that up and is more of the CEO now, but he is the designer of the offense, and Charlie Weiss is the guy that calls the plays. So it works if you got the right guys, together. So Wally, no, Florida will not drop out of the top 20. They're not even going to drop out of the top 10. That ain't happening. You're correct. And by the way, when's your restaurant opening? I need to know.
What kind of restaurant has he got?
Wally's a former Gator football player.
I knew that, but what, he's got some good barbecue going? Because I like
Ask him.
brisket. Hey, Wally. Yeah. Thanks, Wally.
Yeah,
you got some barbecue, Wally?
And spot
brisket.
Too. Hey, give him a spot on the show.
Hey, look, I'll trade for food, man. Look, we don't get paid a lot around here.
I think that Florida is going to sign. You got Tarquin, and I suspect they're going to get one other offensive lineman. They got Slackman. I think they're going to get one other defensive lineman. I think they're going to get a linebacker. I think they're going to get two, and I think they're going to get one more in the secondary, and I think they're going to go after two receivers. I like Raylan Sharp coming from Missouri State, who is a kid who can absolutely, positively fly. But as of watch what's going to go on this week, guys. You got 11 bowl games this week. You had 6 last week. You got 11 this week. You're going to have a lot of players who finish that bowl game, and they are going to be declaring. We've already been seeing that happening after this weekend. I keep hearing a rumor, for example, that Nathan Thomas is going to go in the portal from Louisiana. He is a 6'5", 335-pound tackle who can play inside, who they recruited at Louisiana, and he's like a 3-year starter there. Billy recruited him there, and I hear he's going in the portal. Don't know if that's true or that's just hearsay, wishful thinking. I just don't know on that. But he would be, if he is available, that would be a great one to pick up as well. So, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it tonight.
Pretty good story. Loren, you have anything to add as we kick it off here?
I mean, I agree. As Franz was going through, he kind of took my spot from me. But no, I was going to say, I think the quarterback situation at Ohio State definitely put Jeremiah Smith directly in play at Florida. I think he's spot on with the fact that the by far the most fluid situation at quarterback is Florida. I think they've got a proven guy there, somebody that really connects with his receivers, and I think that would be key in possibly getting Jeremiah Smith on Wednesday. So I think Graham Mertz and his relationship, if you look with Pearsall and some of the other guys, I think could really play well when it comes to the football part of that recruitment.
Well,
quick shout out to Ricky Pearsall and his mom. His mom is just absolutely,
love his mom. Cool.
Talk about terrific. She really is. And
good lady. Works hard.
We were blessed to have this guy for 2 years here. Really and truly blessed. A better person than he is a football player, and that catch will always stay in my. The jump man will always stay in my heart. That was a tremendous catch.
It'll be fun to watch him at the next level, that's for sure. Gentlemen, excellent job tonight. We kind of threw this together because we weren't sure how much we're going to do. I want to tell everybody, if you like what you hear here from this guy, Franz Beard, or this guy, Loren Meadows, you actually can get a lot more of them because we've got a website. It's called GatorBaitMedia.com. Check it out. Subscribe today. It's good stuff. You can get a monthly for like $10, or you can do a whole year for $100, and you got it in here. Here's your little jump man, by the way. There it is. Boom. That comes. We have a photo because we have our own photographer and Chris Spears. We cover the games. We've got lots more stuff on there and lots more planning to have in the future. And this guy, Franz Beard, senior columnist over there, he's on there almost every single day writing this stuff. And Loren checks in. Loren, you're out at, didn't you say you're going to the tournament, basketball tournament?
Yeah, so I'll be at the Jumpman Invitational tomorrow, which is kind of cool, man. It's the 4 original Jordan schools: North Carolina, Oklahoma, Florida, and Michigan. And they kind of switch it every year. The men play, they play the same team. So tomorrow night will be the Florida men against the Michigan men, following the UNC women versus the Oklahoma women. And then on Thursday night, Wednesday night, it'll be the Florida women playing the Michigan women, followed by the UNC men versus the Oklahoma men. And wanted to say, shout out Franz. I don't know if you heard, UNC family lost Eric Montrose tonight.
Saw that as well.
At age 52 to cancer. So
I'm sure
that'll be, but definitely a good event. Great for the four programs that kind of brought the Jordan brand to the forefront, and should be fun. So yeah, I'll be in Charlotte tomorrow night, and hopefully be able to get on with you guys tomorrow and maybe Wednesday, talk about some things.
Losing Eric Montrose is really, talk about a gentle giant, recruited to Carolina, came there, got a national championship with him, never turned into the great pro player that a lot of people thought he might, those last few years of Dean Smith were special years, and miss Dean a lot. We may have a Dean Smith type coming along here at UF in Todd Golden. Jeffrey Meldon on the earlier advertisement was right. This guy is the real deal, folks. Trust me. Mm-hmm. He is the real deal as a basketball coach. Get ready. The Gators are going to be really good. And as tall as they are this year, wait till next year when they got a 7'6" guy coming in too.
God, I hope so. All right. Well, good job, Loren Meadows. You have a good. I'll be up there with my little, what is that? The cartoons, the oil cam. You come and fix your chair. Yeah. Or I'm going to tell Marsha, because I know she doesn't like those sounds. You get that stuff by his recruit. So I'm going to just ask Marsha.
The door is shut, but yeah, man, you got to get up soon, man, so we can chop it up about some things.
We will. Loren Meadows, thank you very much. Say goodnight to you, Mr. Beard. Always a pleasure. You are a gentleman for doing extra duty tonight. Thank you so much, sir. You will probably see more of you this week because we are very, very busy with that. Good night, Franz Beard. All right, he's Franz Beard. I'm nobody. I'm just the guy that pushes the buttons and plays a little Christmas music for you. Christmas music. But it feels Christmassy. Kind of feels Christmassy. Maybe we can see some background. I really quickly, if I can find all these buttons and things, I'm going to tell you really fast and furiously about RedStar Medical Research. Proven reputation as a high-quality, patient-centered clinical research facility, RedStar Medical Research brings cutting-edge technology research trials to Ocala in areas such as Alzheimer's disease, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraine, and fibromyalgia, along with many other conditions that affect our community and the surrounding communities. Since its inception since 1998, RedStar has participated in over 700 clinical research trials and continues to partner with prominent pharmaceutical and biomedical companies throughout the medical industry. Sorry, RedStar, I probably need a drink. I have just hacked that whole thing, but check them out because they've sponsored our show from the get-go, and they're great family, great group of people. We love those guys. So check them out, RedStar.net. That'll do it for me tonight. Thanks to our guest on Meldon Law Monday. You always can go to check those guys out at meldonlaw.com. Jeffrey Meldon, Cory Meldon, and the whole gang down there. If you have any of those sort of needs, those guys are great. So we really appreciate them sponsoring our show on Monday night. Thank you so much to Buddy Martin, obviously checking in. It is his show, so I guess he should check in. But thanks, he's on assignment, and we did source that out last second. Always thanks to Franz Beard. He is the Iron Duke. He's now going to go right for us. So check out him on GatorBaitMedia.com. And Coach Loren Meadows, always a pleasure to have him on the show tonight. And nobody is more important than you all. I really mean that. Thanks for all the 100 and some people that checked in tonight. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Smash the subscribe button on the way out the door. It's not going to hurt you. It's free. Maybe just do it for a buddy and be like, hey, this is your Christmas present. I don't know. It's Merry Christmas. Subscribe for free. That's all I got for you tonight. And we'll be on again tomorrow night. David Whitley, I believe. Mr. Whitley will be on with us from the Gainesville Sun. I'm sure we'll hear from Kyle Curtis, Loren Meadows. I believe we'll check in from Charlotte and the basketball tournament there. And then maybe we'll get old Franz Beard to give us an update from the eve of early signing day. So it's been a lot for all of us. We're all sort of just like staying up all night with our faces next to Twitter, wondering what's going to happen next. Hey, that'll do it for me. I'm Brenden Martin. Thanks to all those folks who support me and give me a lot of goodwill on Facebook. I got a lot of people that were real sweet this week, and I appreciate that. As I remember my mama, as I always remember my mom, Joan Martin, as she passed, and she was a big Christmas gal. So you're going to get a lot of forced holiday cheer this year from me. So always remembering her this time of year, as I definitely miss and love her. So you're going to get a little Christmas cheer whether you like it or not. So be damned, all you anti-Christmas people. Joni would not like you. All right, folks, that'll wrap it up for me. I don't have anything else to say. So all I'm going to say is, hey, when it all's said and done, I really mean it, and I truly, truly mean it. Go Gators. See you guys tomorrow night.